Hello, my wonderful viewers, and welcome to another episode of Betty Adams Overanalyzes. Okay, today we're going to take a look at The Believer, The Mandalorian, Chapter 15, Season 2, Episode 7. Alright, I was thrilled with this episode, and I am going to absolutely geek out over it. It was a fantastic episode, a near perfect episode from my perspective. So, now, in my last review I noted that we analyzers were getting our predictions consistently wrong about where each episode would start and end. For the Ahsoka episode, for example, everybody predicted that her appearance would be the cliffhanger at the end of the episode, and she showed up first thing. For the Boba Fett episode, everyone predicted that Din wouldn't get to Typhon until the last episode of the season, and that a Jedi would show up on Typhon. And then Fett happened, no Jedi showed up, and Din was pulled into the atmosphere over Typhon at the beginning of the very next episode. In fact, while the obvious bits, Din would eventually lose Baby Yoda and they have to go after him, Din and Baby Yoda would meet Ahsoka, Boba Fett would show up eventually, were guessed rightly, the when and how were not only off, but nearly exactly opposite of what the best and most experienced reviewers were predicting. So, last episode, I decided to cast my dice with the house, or rather against the house. Everyone was saying that Chapter 15 would be a break into prison to pull out Bill Burr in a highly sneaky or violent but very illegal way that would get Cara Dune in a lot of trouble. So, I said, no! Every prediction like this has been off by nearly exactly 180 degrees, so I will say this. The bird catching will go quickly and easily and legally. In fact, Chapter 15 might just gloss over that completely and jump to a cranky bird grumbling about Gina Carano legally pulling him out of his nice comfortable cell. And wouldn't you know it, I wasn't exactly right, but I was orders of magnitude closer to what actually happened than anyone else. So this is going to be my going forward method for the last remaining episode of the season. So, and without knowing what my fellow reviewers are saying just yet, here's my advice. Listen closely to what the reviewers are predicting about each episode. With this last episode, Chapter 16, the who is going to be correct, but the when is going to be way off. The when will be the first 2 minutes of the next episode, and then there will be the pew pew, Gina thrown into a cage match, Mando getting beat up, and a touch of principled ethical debate. But let's get to the really important stuff, and this is not going to be a spoiler because I won't name any names or give anything important away. This moment, the one single moment that made me take a deep breath and made my pupils dilate with pure delight. The three little words that drove me to IMDb to find out what genius wrote this episode. There's like a shower upon them the blessings of every freshman chemistry professor who has lived since gasoline has became a common fuel source. So, here's to you. Glances at note scribbled on hand. Rick Famuyiwa? Please forgive me, I'm trying. So, what did our new favorite X-Wing pilot Jib do that filled my science-loving soul with such joy? What moment did he craft that fulfilled a fan need that I have had for years? He had a character use the word volatile in the proper context. See, there's a material that is relevant to the plot of the episode and is necessary for a character to describe the properties of said material to set up the episode. The character says the MacGuffin is highly volatile, and I twitched in anticipatory irritation. This bothers me and other scientists only slightly less than when people use modifiers on the adjective unique. You see, it is the nature of the word. Something is either unique or it is not unique. If it is unique, there's only one of it, and therefore there is nothing to compare it to. You can't use any more adverbs on the adjective unique. Nothing is more unique, or Webster, help me, very unique. However, people misuse this word all the time, and to avoid the accusations of pedantry, we cringe and grind our teeth in silence. Likewise, volatile is often misused, and it's mostly the fault of gasoline and how common and well-known it is and its properties are. You see, volatile has a very, very, very specific meaning. A chemical is only volatile if it evaporates quickly at standard pressure and room temperature, which is scientifically speaking 25 degrees centigrade in 1 atmosphere, or basically a nice cool day in a beach town garage on Earth. Now, if you spill a can of gas on the floor of a garage, even if it's cool and cloudy, you will notice that the gasoline will evaporate very quickly. This is an example of being volatile. You know what else is volatile? Vanilla flavoring, any perfume ever made, and anything designed to be smelled. Think about the shape and general design of a gas can. It is designed to prevent evaporation. And still, if you leave it out for too long, you will lose gas to evaporation. Gas evaporates quickly under normal conditions. It is volatile. However, gas also has other qualities unrelated to its volatility. Gasoline, being strings of carbons and hydrogens, is highly flammable and highly explosive. Now, for a common person handling gas, these three elements are very important to their daily lives. You don't want your gas to evaporate, burn, or explode when you are storing it. But the second two are in general easier to prevent with safety measures and storage design. All it takes is not lighting flames near gasoline fumes to not cause a fire or an explosion. But evaporation is going to happen as long as there's air. So, on a day-to-day basis, the biggest problem for storing gas is the evaporation rate. You lose money, you lose gas. So you have to keep constantly in mind that gas is volatile. However, you can never forget for a moment that gas is also explosive and flammable. So it makes sense in a way that the word you think of most often of the three properties of gas, volatile, becomes a shorthand for volatile, explosive, and flammable. This also applies to other common fuels, diesel, propane, and concentrated alcohol, even to some extent hydrogen peroxide. So, volatile, while only ever meaning evaporates quickly at room temperature, is used in common language to mean explosive and flammable. You know what other things are volatile? Again, vanilla flavoring, every perfume ever, anything that has a deliberate scent. These aren't usually explosive or flammable, but they are volatile. Anyway, now, a scientific term is kind of anchored in the language. It doesn't drift as much as common words because it has a dedicated group of scientists keeping it in place, holding it to its original meaning. So, hearing your hero refer to an explosive chemical that you can't smell as volatile continues to grate on the ears of scientists and engineers. So, I almost winced when the character in The Mandalorian referred to the volatile chemical then. There was a half beat, and the character didn't stop there. It is highly volatile and explosive. And I cheered! The writer knew, the writer understood, the writer was winking to all of us poor pedantic science types who die a little on the inside when the word volatile is misused. Thank you. Thank you! Squints at last name again. Look, can I just call you by your X-Wing pilot name? Thank you, Jib. I got the joke. I got the wink at the general population who misused the word, the wink at those of few of us who care, the wink at the trope of the word being misused in science fiction. 5 flasks and shoot true, Jib. I hope you get a spot in the new Rogue Squadron. By every geek measure, you have earned it. Oh, and the rest of the episode was awesome, that too. Let's see what the rest of the episode was about. There was the pew-pew! There were the scenes directed to draw attention to the fact that there are good and bad on every side of every difficult conflict, and that these are people, not just faceless minions, that the civilian populations who want nothing to do with either side of are the ones who really suffer. There's the fact that as much as we love Din Djarin, he is a Mandalorian, and they are responsible for a lot of death and suffering for the wars and civil wars that they've fought. There were plot twists that you don't see coming, but that do make sense because some of the characters are just the side of outright unhinged. But yes, volatile means that it evaporates much more quickly than water does at standard room temperature and pressure, and our beloved Jib recognized that. Thank you, and peace out, my wonderful viewers.